This week has actually seen me spend very little time in this room. In fact, I've actually spent that much time in this room this week. It's been UK tax season, I've had to do my tax return, and the day job has got in the way, as it sometimes does. Anyway, that by the side, so I've done nothing in here. I've really not explored and done stuff that I wanted to do, but hey ho. I am going to start this week by covering off a couple of questions, or one question particularly that came up on the channel. Now, I have responded directly to the individual who raised the question, but I'm going to answer the question again on camera. So number one, I remember what I did, and number two, anybody else who's going to ask the same question can just look it up. So the question itself concerns this, which is the Roland A-880. Now, if you've seen videos in recent weeks, you know that this one is going up for sale. I did anticipate putting it up for sale before now. I just haven't got round to it. The MIDI A-880 is effectively a MIDI router. That's the easiest way I can put this. It allows you to send MIDI from one input to multiple outputs. Now, the question was specifically around, will it act as a merge unit? And the answer to that is yes, but I put a qualification on it. So first of all, what do I mean by merge? So what I mean by merge is taking MIDI signals from two inputs, merging those signals together, and then putting that merged signal out on one or more of the MIDI outs. Now, this unit will allow you to do that. Okay, that it was built into the unit itself. You can take the inputs from two channels, merge them together, and then you can select however many of the output channels you want to route that signal to. What I'm not sure about, because I've never ever done this, and this is the caveat I put on this, is whether you can have a third signal routed from a third input and then have that signal routed to multiple outs at the same time. That I don't know. I will try and do some testing over the coming weeks and see if I can come back to you. But it does, so that just to clarify, the MIDI, the Roland 8880 does allow you to merge two sources into one. Okay, really great if you've got a computer and a keyboard trying to access the same MIDI codes. That's the 880. The other thing that's happened this week, well, I say happened this week, it hasn't really happened, is the cards I was talking about having seen on eBay just before Christmas and slapped in a cheeky bid and won them, have arrived. They arrived on yesterday. So I'm going to just show you what they are. So the first one is this one. A couple of likely lads there. Those of you who recognise those photos will also recognise the writing down this. So this is Dave Piatch and Steve Porcero, who were, or still are, part of the legendary band Toto. Who, if for those of you can remember that far back, and I definitely remember because it brings up vivid memories of me being in Germany, which is another story. Africa, Rosanna, Georgie Porgy, the whole bunch of records you probably know that this band released. Anyway, I came across a DX7 cartridge for them. I have yet to plug it into the keyboard, I have to be honest, but there you go, the Toto DX7 cartridge. So I'm quite looking forward to being able to actually find out what sounds I've got on there. I did flick through this yesterday when I got it, just to have a look and see what was on there, and it's got things like Child's brass Hydra horns, Africa sounds, Stevie's sax. Yeah. Unfortunately, the instruction book here is mainly written in Japanese, and my Japanese is pretty damn poor to non-existent. So I'm looking forward to that one. I will start playing with that hopefully this week, although I am out a little bit next week. That was the first one that arrived. The second one that arrived was, now I've got 1 to 7, so this is number 8 of the VCR collection. This is Gary Lundberger, and this has got some really interesting sounds on it, which I have really no idea what to expect, if I'm brutally honest. So again, I'm quite looking forward to loading that one up. Again, in very good condition with the cartridge sitting in here. In fact, this cartridge doesn't look like it's actually been out of the box very much, if I'm honest. It's pretty clean. So that was the second one that I won. And the last one was Michael Bodicker. So there you go. And again, unfortunately there's no book with this, but there is the Michael Bodicker voice from there, VCR 004. So that one looks really cool as well, and again an excellent condition. So they will be going in the DX7 at some point in the next 7 days, and I will be having a great play with those. The other thing that arrived this week, and I've seen a plethora of these arrive on the internet over the last couple of weeks. Now, whether these are copy cards or not, but they are damn good copy cards if they are. These are expansion cards for the JV series of synths. Now, I've got a 280 in my rack down here, which I use quite a lot for background sounds. And I've had number 2. I bought number 2 some time ago, so this is number 3. And I think I might have showed you the other week that numbers 5 and, so there's that's 5 and 6 turned up. Now the covers look like they're copies, but the actual card itself, as I said, they're damn good copies if they are. The card itself looks very clean and original. So they have yet to be go in the machine. The only thing I will say about these is that you need to ensure that for some of them, like for argument's sake, this one here, if you can read that on the front of the case, it says must have the pop board installed, and this one says must have the orchestra card installed. So basically, in order to actually be able to use these expansion tones, sounds that they give you, you actually have to have the synth engine, which is the card, installed in your JV synth. Now, what I did some time ago is when I bought my JV synth, it came with 2 cards, and I looked through the list of other cards that were available for it, and I went for the ones that were going to give me the best stock sounds, or what I thought were the best stock sounds. So I went for the orchestra card, I went for the techno card, I went for the piano card, I went for the pop card. I've also got the 60s card in there as well, because the Hammond organs on that are really superb. Now I've got them on other keyboards and around, but there's, you know, to my mind, you can never have enough sounds around you, especially when you're trying to do some stuff or improvise. So that's how my JV is being built, and I seem to have picked the right cards, because most of these seem to be based on the pop card, the orchestra card, etc. So they're really good. So I'm starting to build a collection of those as well. You know my loving of all this stuff. The next thing is and again another cheeky bid on the internet, and this, by the way, is not for me. This is not mine, but I have bought it to repair it, service it, and then give it to the individual who it's going to go to. This is the Roland U-20. Okay, so this is what they classed in the day as a true Rompler, which basically means it takes synthesized sounds and plays them up and down the keyboard. So it's not a synthesizer, it's a Rompler. And this one's got some problems on it which I need to fix. Number one is I need to put a new battery in it, and then reload the SysX sounds, which I will be doing in the coming weeks. It's a little bit bruised and battered, but actually it's in remarkably good nick, and that was a really cheeky bit. Now the U-20, if you like, is the companion keyboard for the U-20 tone unit that I've got sitting in one of my racks down there. Yes, I have this down there. Great stock sounds, and there were a series of 15 stock Roland cards that were issued for these things. Now I am lucky enough that I possess all 15 of those, which means it's a very easy thing to swap tones in and out on one of these things. But they were great stock keyboards in the day for giving you, and as I said to you, I use a lot of my legacy stuff for sound reinforcement. So this is exactly that sort of device, sound reinforcement. Now I'll be brutally honest with you, I haven't fired this up because it's not, the battery's not working, so it's lost all of its internal all of its internal tones. But I shall be looking forward to playing this. It actually feels very, very good and very, very tight in terms of things like faders and buttons, etc. But the proof will be when I get it with a new battery in it. So again, another job, but it's not going to happen this week. Down over there. And the final thing I want to talk about this week, and I don't understand this, I have to be honest, and maybe I need to do a little bit more research on this. I was watching a video from NAMM on Friday night, I think it was. So obviously last week was the big music event where all the manufacturers show off their latest wares in Anaheim, California. And if you were lucky enough to go, I'm jealous, but if you weren't lucky enough to go, maybe you've seen some of the videos on YouTube from various either manufacturers or from various outlets. I mean, there's been a number from Sweetwater I've seen. There's a UK company called Andertons, which you've probably heard me mention on this before. They're over there doing YouTube videos about new product. And then obviously there's videos coming from the main manufacturers. The ones I'm obviously particularly interested in is called Yamaha and Roland, I should say Roland, plus some other keyboard manufacturers who've been doing stuff. I really, really like the new PreSonus, should I say, 32 input mixing desk or digital mixing desk. That really does interest me, and maybe that's that might go on the wish list for some point when I move the studio to bigger premises, which is I would like to say imminent, but I don't think it is imminent, but it is coming this year. We will be moving to a bigger location because I'm just running out of space. So yeah, that I find the whole sort of workflow of the PreSonus interesting. I think I could really use that. Anyway, that aside, and I had to press that because a little message came up on screen. That aside, Roland introduced this week the Roland Cloud Sound Library. This is an interesting concept. So the whole idea of this is it's going to be a subscription service. They're suggesting it's going to be $20 a month. And rather than actually own or go and purchase sound banks, effectively what you do is you can rent the sound banks from Roland. Now what Roland have said is in some of their in the early sounds that have gone up onto this sort of Sound Cloud, so it's really new, launched at NAMM, is that they can put terabytes of sound data onto the cloud, which you can then access to play on an instrument. So and the instrument they were using was the brand new RD series stage piano. Now, in order to do this, it needs something called RainLink technology. Now, I have no idea what RainLink technology is, but that's the terminology they put to it. As I said, it comes on the brand new state-of-the-art RD stage piano. It's also going to be retrofitted to the System 8 and the Jupiter 80, I understand, with a firmware update at some point in the not too distant future. So look out for those. Now, going back to what it does, so you effectively have terabytes of data up in the cloud. You access that via your computer and keyboard, and then you can play those sounds directly. Now, that's the bit I don't really understand, and I'm struggling a bit. You still have to download something, and there was one they were citing, which was a piano sound, which was something like 8 terabytes. You downloaded a gigabyte of that sound data onto your computer, and then you were able to play it. Now, again, I really can't see to me, I sort of don't get the rental model. But then I tend to go and buy cards and sounds anyway, and sound banks if I need them, if it's worthwhile for me, or I just damn well program the things. But I'm not as good as some of these people who can program by ear. But what they were saying in the demo is it allows you to be far more expressive over the music, because they can put into that sound data far more expression to do with how you play the keyboard. Yes, I get it. I've got to be brutally honest, from the demo I couldn't tell the difference. To me, both demos that were done sounded pretty much the same. Now, whether that's because I'm no maestro, I really am not. I can play, but you know, I can't sit at a concert piano and play to that sort of standard. So I'll be brutally honest, I just could not, from the demo, get the whole expression piece. And if I'm honest, I don't get the whole putting the sounds in the cloud. Now, if you were putting them in a portal and you were going to buy them, and then you were going to load them onto your keyboard, maybe that works. But the whole rental thing, I don't sort of get that. Does that mean that when you stop subscribing to the Sound Cloud, all the downloads that you've done on your computer will then become defunct because somehow there's no authorization key coming across? Probably requires more. Definitely needs more investigation, I think. But I'm not sure I'd use it at the moment. In fact, I'm probably struggling to work out how I'd use it in the first place. So that really is me done for another week. Apologies for the way this video looks. My normal way of capturing video, the microphone is now playing up on it. So I'm currently using a different video source for this. Hopefully it's equally as good, but if it's not, I do apologise for that. Other than that, I'm going to sign off and say, have a great week. See you soon.